Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Hendrika, your guide to Once a Pond and Orchid. If you are new here, I'd like to say welcome. And for those of you who have been here since I started the channel, thank you very much for joining me in another episode. Now, today's episode is actually leading on to last week's episode, which is a discussion about this plant, the Dendrobium Fantasyland. Basically today what I'm going to be discussing about is how to get your plant ready for pollination. So let's begin. I'm going to be talking about how I would prepare this Dendrobium Fantasyland to receive pollen. And the advice I'm giving you is pretty much general advice for almost most orchid species. For me, I basically grow Vandaceous. This miniature Dendrobium, I have grown it in the past before I moved from Singapore to Brisbane. So this is actually my first Dendrobium pollination that I'll be doing. And yeah, okay, so let's turn the camera around and let me show you what I would do. So first of all, okay, I'm going to be showing you how to prepare the plant in terms of its health to take on pollen. So therefore, this plant here I intended to be the seed plant. And so therefore, what I normally do is I would fertilize this very well. I would also ensure that all the leaves are nice and healthy and green. The canes are nice and fat. Okay, as you can see from here, the pseudobulbs, not so much canes, but pseudobulbs, okay, is well hydrated. And overall, when you look at the plant, you know that it is healthy. So one thing that I would do when I want to pollinate a plant or to decide which one to be the mother, I would look at also which flower to receive the pollen. So over here, we are looking at pretty much 3 flowers. I think this will make a pretty much basic example. This is actually how I pollinate myself. This one I can see is the first flowering, then the middle one, and then the next one. Of course, okay, there are a lot more that are coming on, but generally you can start pollinating. I would start pollinating from here. Okay, I usually don't pollinate from this one. Don't know why, but this is just experience and gut feel. Okay, I like to pollinate from this after it has got 3 blooms. Pretty much you want the ovaries and the flower to mature to receive pollen. So now we've decided which one is going to receive pollen. Then we need to go back and look at how to prepare the plant better so that all the energy can go into the seed capsule. So as you can see, this plant has got 2 actively growing shoots, and this one has got 2 inflorescence. I am going to actually cut these 2 inflorescence away so that the inflorescence over here, plenty of energy to develop the seed capsule. So let's get going right now. Okay, my trusty secateurs. Okay, these are bonsai secateurs, which I will be reviewing very soon. These are from Japan. So sterilize it. So spray alcohol. Okay, very important to sterilize the secateurs. And I love this pair. It's because they are pointy, and I love the feel of it. It's really comfortable. Cut here and cut here. So I've removed these 2 inflorescence so that the plant will have more energy to hold the seed capsule. So that is done. So now I'm going to show you how you can cross-pollinate orchids. I'm going to use this Dendrobium as the example. So I'm going to be taking pollen from this Dendrobium Fantasyland Sweetie, okay, and put it into Dendrobium Fantasyland Princess. I hope the colors from the variety Sweetie, okay, the dark pink colors, will transfer onto the variety Princess, and then the offspring will also have the spread out shape with intensive color. So you want to know more about these two varieties, click the description below on the comparison and more about the parents. I took this one out. This came from here. It fell out. So it does reflect a little bit. So I'm going to be picking it out from here. So what you normally do, you can use a wire, you can use a toothpick. I'm just using a fancy tool that I was given to do this. Okay, this is some medical tool. I don't know what it is. Yeah, if I do find out the name, I'll put the name in the link or something. I have a wire, toothpick. I'm just using this tool here. Okay, and I'm going to pick the pollen. Normally, how do you pick the pollen is you stretch out the labellum, and you can see from here, there is the enter cap. Okay, I would be just lifting the enter cap. Just lift it. See? Okay, so this enter cap comes off. And the pollen gets transferred onto my tool. Alright, so now what we do is with the receiving one, do the same thing, but this time I would remove the pollen from the receiving flower. It does stick. Okay, so yeah, the pollen doesn't fall off. So you can see from this that the pollen is still here. So I'm going to be taking out, basically taking the pollen from, I've taken the pollen out from the receiving flower. Sorry, it wasn't in focus before. And take this and push it into the stigma of the receiving flower. And that's it. You can remove the labellum. The important thing to do is tag the flower. When there's no tag, you don't know what it is, it becomes a waste of effort. So how do you prepare the tag? Basically, this one doesn't have a hole. I use a small hole puncher. Here, I use a very soft wire. Okay, this is actually a telephone wire. If not, you can use a twist tie, but telephone wires are the best. Make sure you tighten it firm. One twist, two twists, like this. It's a tad bit short, but it will do. And then you write down, okay, for me, I'm going to be writing down Dendrobium, Fantasy Land, Princess. Okay, I always put a mother sign here, and then cross, then yeah, my handwriting sucks. Okay, and then of course the date. The date today is the 26th of March. That's it. So, I find that how do you attach this to the inflorescence is also very important, because if you are in an area with strong winds, you really want to secure this. Take this wire here, and then you hook it on. I twist it once, twice. Okay, so it's loose, but not too loose. And I also, holding on to this, I wrap it around the inflorescence so that in case of strong winds, it will not dislodge. I've lost a tag because I didn't hook it up like this, and the strong wind just blew off the tag. Okay, now it's time to put the plant where I want it to be, and it's going to sit right here. Okay, together with my jewels, because this place is bright. I have it out of the sun, and yep, hopefully it will accept the pollen, even though it's a gloomy day today. Let's see what happens soon. So today is about 2 weeks from when I pollinated this Dendrobium Fantasyland. I don't think it's a good sign because the ovaries here is not turning green. So even though the flower has faded, okay, and so-called pollination has been successful, but however fertilization didn't occur. And these things can happen due to many factors. Could be due to the, mainly due to the environment, could be the humidity, the temperature, and things like that, and even seasonal as well. That could be one of the causes, but we shall see and follow along. until the flower fades or it accepts. So unfortunately, after about 4 days since the last video documentation of the pollination, unfortunately it dropped. Well, the weather in Brisbane has been really crazy. It's been raining and warm and stuff like that, so I think orchids don't pretty much appreciate that. So therefore I am going to let it start all over again, and I'm going to cut off the flower and to let it grow, let it get bigger and stronger for next season. So what you see over here is a seed capsule from a pollination of the parent called Dendrobium bigibbum. The pollination was done 3 weeks when I captured this video, and that's what a seed capsule should look like when it is successfully pollinated and it is in gestation. Normally I will harvest it at the 100th day. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you've learned a little bit about pollination or pollinating orchids. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you've got anything you want me to share or you want to learn about orchid culture and growing, put down in the comments below. Alright, so thanks everyone. I'm Hendrika, your guide to Once Upon an Orchid, signing off for now. Bye!